Hey, what is up, guys? This is Comrade64. How you guys are doing today? And for today's video, I'm gonna be talking about one of my favorite YouTubers who I've been following for many years now. Since the I will say the mid 2010s, early to mid 2010s, I've been following this YouTuber, and his this YouTuber is Geekdom101. Also, by his real name is Danny. Now, Geekdom101, most of you guys, I'm pretty sure he's probably well known here on YouTube, but there are probably some that don't know who he is. But for those you don't know, Geekdom101, he's a basically YouTuber. I think he's big. I don't know how huge he is, well, but I know he's very popular, especially within the Dragon Ball community. He is a Dragon Ball YouTuber, but also as well as he's also, aside from Dragon Ball, which I think is his main favorite franchise, there are other franchises that he delves and talks into. Other geek stuff like Marvel, DC, um, Transformers, Sonic the Hedgehog, Ninja Turtles, and a bunch of other stuff. Because he has two YouTube channels, Geekdom101, which is where he mainly talks about Dragon Ball related stuff. And he has another YouTube channel called World of Geekdom, where he talks about the other stuff, other hobbies, other franchises that he's into. Like I said, yeah, Marvel, DC, Transformers, uh, Sonic the Hedgehog, Ninja Turtles, I think, and of course, and also Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars as well, and other geekdom stuff, other franchises, and even movies and such. Other stuff. While Geekdom 101 is his main, this is YouTube channel that he talks about Dragon Ball stuff, and World of Geekdom is his other YouTube channel where he talks about Geekdom stuff, other franchise and such stuff that he likes. And also, I think he has like a third YouTube channel called Podcast Geekdom, something like that. I forgot the name of it. It was like but that channel he mainly does podcasts, and that's about it. He talks about like he does podcasts on the YouTube channel and such. And I think he might have a fourth YouTube channel, and I could be wrong. That's it. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Well, that's just from what I remember. Or I think maybe he just mainly has three YouTube channels. I don't know. But more than this, I want to say that Geekdom 101. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. He's kind of has somewhat been my main source for Dragon Ball related content, like to get Dragon Ball news and such. Him, and then there have been other Dragon Ball YouTubers that I follow that I actually used to follow, like Quaman and Black and Fist and Entertaining Gaming, Unreal Entertaining Gaming. I think Alex from Unreal Entertaining Gaming. Now Unreal Entertaining Gaming. I can't pronounce his name right. I'm sorry, Alex. But apparently I started watching his first started watching his content like back in 2013. When Battle of Gods came out in Japan. I was watching his review of the movie, and I then started watching his videos from there and such. Now with Unreal Entertainment Gaming, Black and Fish, and Quaman, I kind of did eventually stop watching their content. It wasn't because I didn't like them like them anymore or something, or had anything against them. It's just that it's just more. It's kind of more like that. I kind of fell off. You know, it's kind of like it's the thing like where there's a YouTuber you used to watch, but over watch you used to watch them a lot, but over time you kind of somewhat fall off watching their content, but then other things grab your interest, but then you start to revisit them again, or you will just check in to see what they do from time to time, something like that, you know. But well, Unreal Engine Gaming, I used to watch a lot of his content. I used to watch all his Q&A videos and such, all his videos, and I even like his vlog videos, like those regular videos. He other YouTubers he's collab with. He had a friend named Justin who moved away to become a police officer, a cop somewhere. And Alex, he had like a lot of great friends. So Unreal Engine Gaming, he's pretty much a cool YouTuber. And Black and Fix, apparently he stopped making videos, but until he made a recent new video talking about giving his thoughts about the Dragon Ball Super Beerus, them recycling the Battle of Gods plot line for like the third time again. Yeah. And Koala Man, I haven't checked on him in a while, but I think I'll go back to check his content to see what he's up to if he still uploads. I do remember that video about where he got in a car accident, and I feel really bad for him that he went through that. But hopefully he's doing well. And so yeah, so those three as well as Geekdom were like the main three Dragon Ball YouTubers that I haven't been phone. I'm busy. Sorry, they've been like the main three Dragon Ball YouTubers. Those three and Geekdom101. They've been like the main three Dragon Ball YouTubers who I've been following for, you know, for a while. They're like my main source for Dragon Ball news and such. Just those four. And apparently there have been others, but they have kind of been like my main four. Or I guess Rhyme Style as well. I also did like Rhyme Style, but I didn't keep up too much with him. And there have been a couple others. Yeah, for Neverworld. Yeah, for Neverworld is pretty cool. Well, from Neverworld, he mainly does anime stuff. Yeah, Indian anime related. I do remember watching for Neverworld's videos like back in the 2010s. For Neverworld, he's a really cool dude. And I think he got to meet some Dragon Ball characters like no Dragon Ball actors like Sean Shimmer. But I heard that Sean Shimmer blocked him over something. That sucks. But the point is, aside from some of those anime YouTubers, some of them, Geekdom101 has kind of been m- my main, I would say my main source of Dragon Ball YouTuber who I mainly watch. I've seen a lot of Geekdom101's videos, and yeah, we'll get back on Geekdom 101 now because I'm sorry if I went a bit off topic, talk about some of the other YouTubers and such. My bad. But we're going to talk about Geekdom 101 because he's the main point. He's the main center of this topic of this video. I'd want to say Geekdom 101. I think he's a great YouTuber. He makes a lot of amazing content. I've been following him for years. I like all his videos. His Dragon Ball videos, and I even like all his videos on his World of Geekdom YouTube channel. And another thing that I liked on his World of Geekdom YouTube channel, one of the main things that I liked on there was like those speak them videos. So in these speak them videos, he talks about serious topics like where he gives viewers advice on certain things about what you should do and what you can do, and they're pretty much great videos, and pretty good indeed. Props for him for making those videos, because I think when he made those videos, they kind of help some people out, giving advice to people and such. You know, and apparently, from what I heard, he kind of stopped doing them just because apparently they weren't getting enough clicks or anything. You know, but and to be honest, I'll probably put on those videos from time to time and play them in the background and hear them. I have seen a couple of them. One of my favorite ones that he made was about distancing yourselves from toxic people, toxic friends, which is something that I'm gonna get into later. That's one of my favorites, and there have been others like talk about. I think you mean like one called like New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. You know, now I'll be honest. I have mostly lately mostly been watching his mostly watch his World of Geekdom videos recently because I have kind of found those more entertaining, more interesting, more. I've kind of seen you gravitate towards those in the recent years. Unlike when I used to watch Geekdom with his Dragon Ball videos on his Geekdom 101 channel, but I still watch his Geekdom 101 videos from time to time. It's just that the World of Geekdom. I have kind of seen some of the content he's made on there. Not saying there's anything I don't like his content he makes on the Geekdom 101 channel. I do like that as well, but it seems that I have kind of seen to gravitate towards the World of Geekdom YouTube channel more. But honestly, I still like both channels either way. Both channels are awesome, by the way, and as well as, and I think that podcast YouTube channel, that third YouTube channel he has, podcast Geekdom something what he has. I haven't seen much of that, but I might go check it out. And also, I might leave the links for all three of his channels in the comment section below. And he probably may have made some more YouTube channels. I don't know, but those are like the three that I know so far. And so Geekdom 101, he's pretty much a cool dude. Apparently, and also I have been on a couple of his live streams. I actually was on one of his live streams yesterday. You know, I actually left two super chats. You know, interacting with Danny's kind of cool. Danny's really a cool dude. He's an awesome guy and such. From what I see on him on YouTube. And apparently I have learned some stuff from him. Now, apparently he said that apparently, one of the things I learned from him is that Bruce Faulkner, who played who was one of the American composers for the old DBZ dub like from the 2000s when Funimation was dubbing it, the Bruce Faulkner music. Apparently, Geekdom 101 has said that the guy is an asshole. This guy is an asshole, and that how Bruce Faulkner took credit for stuff that he didn't do. He took credit for all the songs that he didn't make. But these three other guys helped make the song, and Bruce Faulkner didn't give them credit. And Geekdom said talk about how he acts at panels, charging people too much for money and stuff like that, and amongst a few other things. So I guess, and apparently I have some videos about people people talk about Bruce Faulkner, how he's a terrible person and such. I guess that is kind of sad to hear, but then again, you know, people are sometimes people who we like are taught not to be good people at the end of the day, which is a bummer. Yes, but hey, that's reality because there are people at the end of the day. And and Geekdom, he's pretty much a really cool dude, and now one of the things, one of the things that is kind of known about Geekdom 101 is that I think it's assumed that he has a lot of haters out there because in some of his videos, like some of his live streams, like in some of his speak them videos, or even when he talks about live stream, there have been. And I think he said this yesterday in his live stream that apparently he has kind of he has dealt with a couple of haters, people who just don't like him on the platform. And apparently, like there have been some people who have made contact about him, disposing him that he's a terrible YouTuber and all this such. Like he said mentioned there was this one guy, this YouTuber who made content on him since 2017. Wow. And apparently there were other YouTubers that apparently taught that try to dispose him, saying he's a terrible person and stuff like that. And apparently now here's the thing, I don't really know all these stuff that's been said about him. I don't know if these stuff that are said about him is true or they're not true. I'm just gonna be real with you guys. I'm just in the middle, honestly. All right. I don't know what's true and what's not true. I'm just watching. I'm just in the middle. I'm just geeked in 101. Danny, he seemed like a cool dude when interacting with him on YouTube and stuff like that. But I don't know what he's like in his personal life, and I don't know if it is true that he's done all these things. I don't know what's true and I don't know what's not true, and probably it's probably best that we don't find out. Because some people could probably be telling the truth or they probably could be lying. We don't know. I'm just gonna stay out of it, honestly. I'm just gonna say that I like Danny. I like Geekdom101. He's a great YouTuber and such, and he makes amazing content and such. And apparently, speaking of earlier, when I talk about how I was getting into toxic friends and such, Danny did mention that he used to be friends with a lot of people. Like I think on here on YouTube that he basically he helped some of them get on the platform somehow, help them get revenue. From what I remember, he said, and apparently some of them like actually stopped talking to him, or some of them kind of uh some of them kind of backstab him, stabbed him in the back, and just like threw him on the bus or something. And apparently, apparently he used to be friends with a lot of people. I think here on YouTube, and some of them eventually like turned away from him. I think maybe like when I think maybe allegations were coming out against him, and some of them decided to distance themselves, and some of them chose not to defend him. From what I remember in one of his videos, because I don't because no, here's the thing. I don't know if Danny is a terrible person in his personal life. Maybe he probably is. I don't know. Well, he did do speak to 101 talking about how popular YouTubers you like them and all, but you don't really know them at the end of the day. And that's true. And the truth is, he's right. There are a lot of YouTubers here that I like on YouTube, but at the end of the day, we don't really know what kind of people they are at the end of the day. Like when they're off camera, when they're off YouTube. There probably could be some stuff about them we don't even know. Some of them could be hiding something. Some of them could be doing something devious behind the scenes. In their personal life. We never know, because that's why we shouldn't always hold YouTubers up to high regards. And knowing that at the end of the day, they're just people at the end of the day. And like this is the same thing, how I mentioned earlier with Bruce Faulkner. I don't know the guy personally. I never met him. I'm hearing stories that he was a dick. For, taking credit for making the songs, even though he didn't. I think he did some of the songs, or he probably didn't do all the songs. I'm hearing from some people that he's a terrible person. So so. But and then we're all regular human beings at the end of the day. Whether we're celebrities, whether we're famous actors, actresses, writers, directors, sports players, producers, writers, directors, producers, sports players, people who play sports, singers, musicians, or even people here on YouTube. If you're an internet celebrity, like you're on YouTube or somewhere on the internet, or on TikTok or somewhere, if you're famous, a famous figure, a famous person who's known throughout the world, regardless of that, at the end of the day, you're just a regular person. At the end of the day, you're just somebody who's just doing a job. Who you're just doing some entertainment for. I mean, either just for fun or just to make money and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, you're just a regular person. We all have our demons. We all have done some mistakes. We all have done some shitty things. You know that kind of stuff. Or we're all not saints. We're all not angels. We're all not perfect, and we never will be. You know, we're all gonna have like a negative side of ourselves where we do terrible things, or we can. Some of us could probably be terrible people, like off YouTube and such. You know, and I guess some people have maybe probably tried to expose Danny for the kind of person that he is. I guess why one of his haters hate him a lot, don't like him, because maybe Danny probably must have said some things that they didn't like, and they probably took it the wrong way or something. Or some people just seem as an asshole. They think he's an asshole, but and again, we don't know. I mean, could he be an asshole in his personal life? Probably. I don't know. I don't know the guy off of YouTube. I only seen his videos, and I've been in a couple of live streams. And personally, from what I've seen, he seems like a really cool dude. But then again, we don't really know. Now, Geekdom101, he has been friends with a couple of YouTubers. Now, I think he has interacted with other YouTubers. Like I know Unreal Engine Gaming. He actually was in one of his videos. So apparently, like I think they were at going to like a Dragon Ball convention, and they were at like some kind of bar, and they met the guy who voiced Cell, Damien Clark, I think that's his name, or the other guy, I don't know. Yeah, that's what Geekdom was in. He did met Unreal Alex from Unreal Engine Gaming, and Alex, he's also a wrestler. I forgot to mention that. Props for him. And also, so Geekdom, he has kind of collabed with our YouTubers. Now, there was this one YouTuber, I hate to mention his name, and I'm really sorry to mention his name, but he's apparently no longer on YouTube anymore because, apparently he was apparently he was kicked off of YouTube for violating something. And apparently yeah, and I think Geekdom101, he probably met from World as well, I think. And I know he's also Geekdom, he also collabed with a guy named Fusion something. This YouTuber named Fusion, he has Fusion in his name, and he does these Dragon Ball dissection videos. So yeah, Geekdom has collabed with a lot of people. Now back with this other YouTuber that that Danny used to collab with. I think Danny did used to collab with him because I know they did used to do some live streams together. And this YouTuber, and this YouTuber, he's no longer on YouTube. And apparently, this YouTuber's name is Mad Black Entertainment. Now, Mad Black Entertainment, I don't know. I think he was one of those people who Geekdom 101 was apparently friends with. I don't know if I don't know if they were friends. And that's well, but I do remember like they used to do live streams together, and apparently, Mad Black Entertainment. I actually was subscribed to his channel, and I actually was on a couple of his live streams, and I do remember that live stream that they both did together. But then later on, Mad Black Entertainment, I think he made like a live stream exposing Geekdom 101 and stuff like that, and I think he made some hate videos on him. So so I was just kind of surprised when I saw. I was like, I was surprised. Like I actually thought these guys were probably friends. But that's the thing, sometimes, there are some YouTubers that, you used to be friends with. Used to be YouTubers that you probably think are friends, but then again, sometimes either some YouTubers could probably pretend to be your friends, or maybe they were friends at first, but then something happened that a falling out or something. Or, yeah, some YouTubers like pretend to be your friend and just backstab you or something. Or maybe you guys were friends at first and then they end up backstabbing you. I don't know. But Mad Black Entertainment, I do remember he did make some other videos like exposing other Dragon Ball YouTubers like for World, Unreal, Understanding Gaming. And apparently I think because he did all that, that probably led him to get kicked off the platform, getting kicked off of YouTube. I don't know too much about the whole thing, like the whole thing with Mad Black Entertainment. Well, and I'm sorry for bringing him up, but I don't. But I'm hearing from some people that Mad Black Entertainment that he was a douchebag. He was kind of a dick. And yeah, when I used to watch some of his live streams and such, he did seem like there were times where he kind of came off as a bit of an asshole sometimes. But I kind of thought maybe he was probably one of those likable assholes. But and I have heard some negative stuff about him. But hey, I don't really know what's true and what's not true. All right, I'm just in the middle, and I probably don't need to know the details. You know, but it is kind of bummer that I guess he and Geekton were probably not friends. I don't know, if he backstabbed Geeked him or something, or he just pretended to be his friend. I don't know. And apparently, like Geeked him, you know, and so Mad Black Entertainment, I guess he can be assumed to be one of those haters that Geeked 101 deals with on a daily deals with. I don't know if they still deal with each other. I don't know. But so Geekdom 101, maybe he probably has had some haters over the years. And I guess like in yesterday's one of his live streams, he did like a YouTube video where on a live stream he was talking about how he was going to lose his YouTube channel because he got 3 strikes, and there were some people on celebrating on social media that he's going to use everything, and like he's like, what the hell did I do to these people to make them hate me or something? So it just kind of felt like you're gonna have your first share of haters, and you'll deal with these haters on a daily basis and such. Now, apparently, there's this YouTuber who I've been following for years. His name is the Italian Stallion 51. His name is Fabio, and apparently, he's been dealing with haters for like a long time, you know. And sometimes he used to make these crackhead comments of the day videos and such. But you know, he pretty much just ignores him and just like blocks him and stuff like that. And apparently now his YouTube channel pretty much got terminated because he got reported, even though he was one who's being harassed by his haters and such. You know, you know, but guys, you know, every YouTuber is gonna have their first set of haters. You know, whether you did something wrong or you didn't do something wrong, or just people just end up hating you for some reason. Like maybe you just end up saying things that they don't like and they kind of take it the wrong way or such. You know, but overall, Geekdom101, he doesn't really let that shit like bother him as much. You know, he still does what he does, and he's pretty much happy to do it. Now, I don't know if he's an asshole in real life. I don't know him personally, but here on YouTube, he seems like a cool guy from what I've seen. Who knows? He could probably be an asshole. Who knows? I don't know. But I still enjoy his content. But what he does is outside his personal life. That's him. That's whatever. But here on YouTube, I think he's an amazing YouTuber, and I really enjoy your content. And Danny, Geekdom101, if you're watching this, I don't know if you are, I doubt it, but maybe if you are watching this, I want to say you're a great YouTuber. I really enjoy your content, whether it's Dragon Ball related or other Geekdom nerd topics, stuff like that. You talk about like on your other YouTube channel, World of Geekdom, and you're a great YouTuber, bro, and you keep doing what you're doing. Phone, be quiet, okay? I'm doing a video. So, anyways, Geek 101, Danny, you rock, bro, and keep up the good work. Now, I know some of you guys think I'm probably a cuck for him, but no, I'm not, because I know there's going to be some people saying, oh, but Geek 101, he's a terrible person. Well, I don't know what's true and what's not. Again, I don't know what's true and what's not, and true, and I don't know what's true and I don't know what's not true, all right? I'm just in the middle, and, you know, if you guys don't like him, that's fine. That's fine. You don't need to watch his content. Just go somewhere else. That's fine. If you can't stand the guy, well, whatever. And but sometimes, guys, let's just remember to be positive towards each other. I know the world can't be positive, but at least let's try to be somewhat positive in a way. That's all I'm saying. So, Geekdom 101, Danny, you're an amazing dude. You rock. Go, Danny, Geekdom 101. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and all that jazz. And I have more videos coming out in the future. And I'm thinking about starting a series of videos where I talk about my favorite YouTubers and what I like from them, about their content and such. Let me know if you want to see that. So yeah, that's it for this video. This is Comrade 64 signing out. Peace out, guys.